Why is it that men get inordinately upset when they see women living their best lives, single and child free?
Hello and welcome back to my channel, everyone. And I would like to give a special welcome to my new viewers. So today we're going to be talking about a really interesting topic, and the topic is, why do men hate child-free women? So we're going to be watching a set of videos that I've stitched together, and I'll be joining you with my review on the other side. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And if you have any thoughts or opinion on this topic, please share them in the comments below. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Why is it that men get inordinately upset when they see women living their best lives, single and child free? I've seen more than one video at this point where men are making responses to women posting about their free weekends and what they do on their weekends because they're young and they don't have kids and they're just enjoying their life and they're sleeping in and cooking and enjoying their hobbies. And men feeling some kind of need to respond to these things with, oh, well, her life is so sad. She doesn't even realize how sad her life is because she doesn't have a husband and she doesn't have kids. It's really pathetic. It's just like men clearly need to feel needed and wanted by women. And when they see that women are living their lives happily and that they don't need men and they don't need children to be happy, it gets them really upset. It gets them really in their feelings. So I think it's really men that need women, and it's not the other way around. Men are actually really bad at forming friendships, and their own friends are actually likelier to stab them in the back, sleep with their girlfriends, and even kill them. Men need to learn how to form relationships, not even just romantic relationships, but also friendships. They need to learn how to cultivate their relationships, and they also need to learn how to treat women and how to respect women so that they don't end up alone and unhappy. Because the reality is that it's men who are ending up alone and unhappy, it's not women. And a lot of the times it's because they played all the women that wanted to be with them when they were younger, or they didn't treat their children well. So they're ending up alone in nursing homes at the age of like 45, having had a heart attack, and there's nobody around that cares about them. So these men on the internet who keep on telling women, oh, you're going to die alone with 30 cats and you're going to be single and unhappy, that's just them projecting their own future and their own fears onto women.
That's a great question. One that I have been asking myself for the past almost 5 years that I have been posting child-free content. Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm 55 years old. I'm a retired teacher and now full-time content creator. So when I first started making child-free content, there weren't many people talking about that openly. And since I have known from a very young age I didn't want children, I thought it would be good to kind of open that dialogue. And because of that, I gained some, notoriety. And I had people from Russia come and interview me. I had people from Germany come and interview me. I had people all over the world picking up my story and talking about being child-free. Well, now there are so many wonderful child-free content creators on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube that the dialogue is out there. When the dialogue gets out there, the criticism also gets out there. A lot of the criticism I get is not from women, it's from men. Shocking, I know. But there is a comment that crosses gender lines, and it's this. They'll ask the question, why are you making a video about being child-free if you're so happy? Are you trying to convince the world or yourself? And they truly think it's a gotcha moment. They think the only reason I'm doing this is to put on a happy face because I'm really miserable without children. No. I make child-free content so child-free people have representation. It builds a sense of community. I did not have that representation when I was younger. And so it's so good for us to be talking about this issue that is becoming more prevalent. And as this issue is being talked about more and becoming more prevalent, the criticism has amped up. So what do the men say? Well, they don't comment on the content of my video as much as they comment on me. Yes, they go right at me. The woman they didn't know existed, saw for 10 seconds, started to get big feelings, and then needed to do personal attacks on. For some reason, seeing a happy, child-free woman just makes the blood behind their eyes go thick. It disorients them. and they get their one little finger and go to the comment section and tell me how wrong I am. They tell me I look lonely. They tell me I look sad. They ask me what antidepressants I'm on. They can't wait until I get old on my deathbed with nobody to visit me. Sounds to me like those might be all things that they fear. But the main thing I think that bothers them about child-free women is that we are women who have not followed the traditional path that they have been taught their entire lives, and they don't know how to deal with it. They were brought up thinking that they would grow up, get a wife, have kids, have her do the emotional and physical and mental labor of a household, and everything would be just as their fathers and grandfathers had it. So when they see a woman who is child-free and openly expressing how happy she is being child-free, it doesn't match what they were taught. So they need to tell that woman, you made a mistake and you will regret it. And that is such a flimsy argument, because not only do I not feel as if I've made a mistake, I truly know that if I ever felt regret, I would rather regret not having a child than regret having a child. Okay, that's my side. What do you think? Why do child-free women get so much hate?
A lot of men, not all men, a lot of men get upset when you are young, single, beautiful, and childless. Let's talk about it. Y'all be ready to villainize a lot of women because they don't have children and they're not planning to have children. And to me, it's like, that's not on everybody's 2024 bingo card. Y'all supposed to be protectors and providers, and a lot of y'all barely do that. And y'all be in the comments talking about choose better. And when women do choose better, it's a problem. And a lot of men know that even if you have children that are not theirs, it's still a way of control, because they know you can't hop and bounce and do what you want to do when you want to do it on your time, because you have children you have to look after. So it makes you more stable. It makes you stay in the same places. It makes you do the same things repetitively, knowing that you have to provide for your children. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because when you're a mom, you should do it to the fullest. You should want to be a great mom. You should want to create a lifestyle for your children that's consistent. But when you don't have to be consistent in any routines because you don't have no kids, girl, men want to eat you alive. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. Oh, she's always outside. Well, baby, I can do that. I don't have no kids. I don't have no responsibilities. I can do what I want. Oh, you need to be doing this with your career. Baby, if I want to stay in a career where I'm only making enough money to support me, what's the problem? It's only me. And I think this applies to all women. Men do not like it. Like, I had an ex-boyfriend. He used to be so mad because when we'd get into arguments, like, I'd get on flights and like go out the country with my friends, because it used to be like a thing. What's this back, like maybe 2-3 years ago? You could catch like a red eye to London. Like, I could leave Chicago like 8 p.m. at night and be at London at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I have a lot of friends in Europe, and like they'd be like, oh, Bianca, you can stay at my house, you can stay here, like just book your flight. And the flights used to be dirt cheap, so I used to go to Europe a lot. So we'd get in an argument, I'd get on the flight, you know, be in London. He would be pressed, like he'd wake up the next morning calling me, but baby, the phone's not going through because I'm in Europe. And my thing is this, I just want young women to understand, y'all don't have to subject yourself to anything. You can make enough money to support yourself, spend your money on what you want to spend your money on, pay your bills, and do you. You don't have to be anything toxic. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to be stable, especially as a black woman, because I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but my parents, they kind of make me not scared. They're okay with me traveling, but like me living on my own and moving to a different state, they're kind of weary about. But I did it anyway, so it's one of those things where you just got to make your life about you, and decenter men, but center yourself. Do what makes you happy. Stop living your life for so many people's accolades, because baby, they'll never give it to you. I have an older sister, and she literally does what makes her happy. If she doesn't want to go to a family event, she will tell my mom, my dad, everybody, like, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to do that. That doesn't align with me right now. And she literally lives her life to the point where she is the happiest person I know. She takes such good care of herself. She's beautiful. She gets all her hours of sleep. She doesn't have no man stressing her. She lives with her boyfriend. Boyfriend pays all the bills. She lives a very, very soft life. Like, She just does what she wants and she doesn't care what anybody says. My parents are like, no, you shouldn't shack up, you shouldn't do this. And she's like, no, I'm doing what I want. You get what I'm saying? She doesn't care. And I'm not saying be reckless and put yourself in harm's way, but do what you feel is right in your heart. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
I saw this video of this man and woman on a podcast, and I can't find it or else I'd stitch it, but it's basically this guy saying like, oh, well, when do you want to have kids? And the woman's like, oh, like, I'm not having kids. I don't want them. And the man says something along the lines of, what do you mean you're not having kids? Like, that's literally what your purpose is. And that just really rubbed me the wrong way. So my husband and I don't want kids. We're not having any. And before we got married, we had a couple conversations about children because you should not be marrying somebody if you're not on the same page about kids. I did a lot of reflecting because I was like, wait, do I want kids? And then I realized for me personally, I did not want kids. And the reason I thought I wanted them was because society had ingrained it so much in my brain that that was like what I was supposed to be doing. Other side of that, I also went through this really rough time where I felt like there was something wrong with me as a woman and have this natural maternal instinct. And I felt bad about myself because I was like, why don't I want to have kids? Why don't I want to be a mother? Like, why don't I want to raise a child? And like, what's wrong with me that I'm not feeling these like feelings I'm supposed to naturally want to feel? Always going to be outside noise of people telling you what's best for you. But if you follow that, you'll never be happy. So at the end of the day, you just got to do what's best for you anyway. If you want to have kids, have them. If you don't want to have kids, don't have them. But just know that your sole purpose on this planet, if you're somebody who can reproduce, is not that.
There's a reason why males are so upset at women who choose to be child-free and don't want to get married. Maybe they're single, they don't want relationships with men, and it's simply because those males cannot control those women anymore. They can't have a hold over them because if we think about it, it's always the woman usually waiting to get married, waiting to have kids for when the man is ready. But the tables have turned now. So many women like myself don't want to have children because we can see through the rose-tinted glass, you know, what motherhood actually entails, what being tied to a man through having a kid, through marriage actually entails for a woman. Statistically, women who get married and have children actually don't live as long as unmarried child-free women. And I think women are just waking up collectively, and that terrifies men because they no longer hold all the cards, and I love it. I keep saying, being child-free as a woman is literally a cheat code. Staying unmarried as a woman is a cheat code because you bypass so much of the free labor that comes with being a mother, that comes with being married to a man, the toll that it will take on your mental and physical health, and of course, you know, not being controlled by it. And I'm not saying this is the case for every woman, like, of course not. Of course there are good men and good marriages and good dads, but if we're looking at it from a purely statistic standpoint, then yeah, being a mother and being married to a man is actually dangerous for a woman of today.
Wow. Now, some of these videos are really eye-opening, and let's take a closer look at some of the points that the women bring up. First, let's talk about what it means to be child-free. So basically, being child-free means that someone has made the deliberate choice not to have children. And this can be for a variety of reasons, such as personal preference, financial constraints, as well as health concerns. So, for example, some women may choose not to have children because they want to focus on their career or education, while others may not choose to have children because they don't feel emotionally or financially prepared to take on the responsibility of parenthood. And just on this particular point, let's face it, guys, raising a child is not easy, and you have to be financially prepared for the medical costs that come with that child being brought on earth. You have to make time for that child. So if a woman is a career woman, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's okay for her to decide if she wants to have a child or not. And also, in addition, some women may have health complications. So I think it's important to know that having children is not compulsory. It's good, yes, and kudos to those that actually have children. I have huge respect for parents, my parents in particular, because they make a lot of sacrifices, and they take a lot of time off their schedule to see that I'm doing fine, even in my grown state. So yeah, I'm pro-choice. You can either choose to have a child or not. Now, another thing I would like to talk about is how women should not be reduced to childbearing. Women are human beings as well, with they are complex beings that are worth more than childbearing, if I do say so myself. And this is a really, really important point, because there are some women who cannot give birth naturally due to health complications. So, for example, some women may have infertility issues or medical conditions that make it difficult or impossible for them to get pregnant. And let's remember that giving birth is a painful process, and it's also a life-threatening process if not handled carefully. So I think it's unfair to use children as a measurement of a woman's worth. Women are so much more than their ability to bear children. Women are individuals with their own thoughts and feelings and experiences, and they deserve to be respected and valued regardless of whether or not they have children. And in addition to having children, even after you have the child, the process doesn't end there. Let us also remember that there's something called postpartum depression, and women have to go through that on their own. And we're lucky that we now live in a time and age where we can now start having such conversations where issues like postpartum depression is concerned. And once a woman is pregnant, they are limited with what they can do. Let's face it, when a woman is 9 months pregnant, she cannot do what a woman who's not pregnant can do. And they're carrying that child for 9 months. So women should not be reduced to childbearing. I think that's a shallow way of thinking. But once again, kudos to women who choose to be mothers. That's a very, I don't want to say brave choice, but that's a very empowering choice for a woman on her own. Now, let's talk about the patriarchy and women's independence. So, I don't like to take such terms for granted, because I hate it when I'm watching a YouTube video and people are throwing around all these terms that are complicated or that I've never heard before. So, for the sake of those who do not understand the patriarchal system and how it works, let me break it down. So basically, the patriarchy is a social system in which men hold the power and women are subordinate. So it's basically a system that has been in place for thousands of years, and it's still present in many parts of the world today. So, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, not to be quoted, but in certain countries, women could not drive a car. Just driving a car, because you're a woman, you couldn't. That's an example of what the patriarchal system looks like. Another example that I would give is back in the day, back in the 60s, in the 50s, women were not allowed to vote. Yes, if you're a Gen Z like me and you're shocked, I was shocked as well when I found out that women could not vote back in the day. They had to fight for that right. And on top of that, they still had to fight for certain equalities, like equal pay in the workplace. There was a time and age where a man and a woman could do the same amount of work within the same working hours, but a woman would get a low salary just because she's a woman. And I would like to acknowledge the fact that we've made so much progress. I mean, we are now starting to see more women in leadership roles, and that's great. For instance, in the country that I come from, in Zambia, for the past decade or so, we've seen two female vice presidents, which has never happened before in history, in Zambian history, in the 60 years that we've had independence. Yeah, I know it's shocking. And uh, even on the Western world, finally, America had its first female vice president, and she was a woman of color. But that's a conversation for some other time. Yeah. So one of the ways the patriarchy manifests is through the suppression of women's independence. So women who are independent financially, emotionally, and all that jazz, who make their own decisions and their own lives, are often seen as a threat to the patriarchy. Now, this is because independent women are not reliant on men for financial or emotional support. They are self sufficient, and this can be very intimidating to men who are used to being in control. Now, to the men, I think it's high time we started to learn to form sustainable relationships. This is not just about romantic relationships, but also friendships and family relationships. I think it's high time that we as men learn how to communicate effectively and how to listen actively and how to resolve conflicts in a healthy way, and not as opposed to a way that is demeaning. You know what I mean? So we also need to learn how to respect boundaries, especially a woman's boundaries, and also how to prioritize our partner's needs, and also how to be emotionally intelligent. Now, emotional intelligence is something that's very important. I'll talk about it in a separate video, but it's basically the ability to assess and process your emotions in a way that you're fully conscious about what you're doing and decisions you're making, right? So when men can form sustainable relationships, they are better able to connect with others, to build trust, and to create meaningful relationships. So that's something that is very important. So moving on, I would also like to talk about how I would like to talk about how men looking down on women's independence is only seen as them projecting their fears. And I think we heard this from one of the women in the video. Now, for those that don't understand what projection is, once again, I don't like to take such terms for granted. Projection is, how can I put this? It's basically a psychological defense mechanism in which someone attributes their own thoughts, feelings, or motivations to someone else. So when men look down on women's independence, they are often projecting their own fears about losing control and being abandoned. So they may see independent women as a threat to their own power or status. But in reality, independent women are not a threat to anyone. They are simply women who are confident, self-sufficient, and are able to make their own decisions. I would also like to talk about women hating child-free women as an issue of control and frustration. So when men hate child-free women, it's often because they feel like they are losing control. They may feel like women are supposed to be caregivers and nurturers, and that child-free women are somehow failing in this duty. But in reality, child-free women are simply making a different choice, and they may be choosing to focus on their careers and their education or their personal interests, and that is okay. So men also hate child-free women because men themselves are frustrated that they are missing out on the free labor that comes with being a wife and a mother. So they may feel like women are supposed to be responsible for the domestic work around the house as well as childcare, and child-free women are somehow getting out of this responsibility. But in reality, domestic work and childcare are not inherently feminine tasks. Of course, I do understand that there are certain tasks that men can't do, like breastfeeding and whatnot. But come on, you can change a diaper. You know what I mean? So there are tasks that should be shared equally between partners. So on that note, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this video has been helpful and informative. I feel like I say that all the time in all my videos. But anyway, remember, being child-free is a valid choice, and women should not be judged or shamed for making this choice. Men need to learn to respect women's independence and autonomy, and they need to learn from sustainable relationships that are based on mutual respect and trust. So, what do you think about this topic? I would like to hear from the men in the comment section. Give me a penny for your thoughts. What do you think about this topic? Do you have any thoughts or opinions on why men hate child-free women? Please share them with me in the comments below. And once again, just a quick disclaimer: I'm not talking about all men. No, I'm talking about some men, and it's just sad that some of the men that I'm talking about are in the majority. So yeah, please share your comments and your opinions in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. And if there's if there's any content rather that you would like me to create, please leave it down in the comments below, and I will personally curate that content to satisfy your virtual appetite. Right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video. From me, it's goodbye.